The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Jimmy Song, Bitcoin developer.
Hello, everybody. Sorry, it took me a while to get to the mute button. Also, you see me all day.
Tone Vase from Liberty Life Trail.
Hey guys, so I know you see me all day also, but little change of scenery, out in some fresh air with a little drink. Joined by a little buddy here.
And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network, asking you to give us a like and a share, because that helps more people find the show. Moving on to issue one. Issue one, segregated witness activates on Bitcoin. Segregated witness, the long-awaited Bitcoin scaling solution, activated just a couple of days ago, and you joined us live on the World Crypto Network for our exciting activation special. Now that we have segregated witnesses, we can do all kinds of upgrades to the Bitcoin network, such as Lightning Network, Schnorr signatures, and maybe even confidential transactions. Jimmy Song, what are you most excited about with the segregated witness upgrade?
Well, the thing I'm excited about is seeing what innovations come out of this. Obviously, Lightning Network is sort of like the crown jewel of Segwit activation, and that's what everyone's been sort of waiting for. But you know, there are other innovations that can happen as well. I think you mentioned Schnorr signatures and possibly confidential transactions. Certainly, this sort of unblocks Bitcoin development, and we can continue with something like side chains, drive chains, things like that. We could have a lot of different things go on top of Bitcoin and Segwit. But yeah, I think I'm more sort of subdued in the actual Segwit, you know, I guess, what would you call it, excitement. I think it's good, but you know, there's certainly a lot of infrastructure that needs to be built. There aren't that many transactions yet on Segwit, but you know, there will be wallets, and you know, we talked to the Zap wallet developer on the show. We talked to the entire Lightning Network daemon team, and you know, there's a lot of excitement with Litecoin as well, because you can do cross-chain atomic swaps. So there's a ton of things that can happen, and I'm really excited that it's coming to fruition. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I'm just going to preach a little bit of patience, because it's going to take some time for everybody to catch up and do all the things that are necessary to make this really useful. And we all knew that, right? Like, that was sort of the appeal of big blocks, was that it would happen right away and no one needed to upgrade anything. With Segwit, well, it's going to take a little more time, and it's a slower ramp up. But in that way, it can be good too, because it's not everyone is just sort of shocked by like a much larger block or something like that. So yeah, very exciting stuff.
And to reiterate Jimmy's point from earlier today, Segwit also is a block size increase. We're starting to see blocks slightly bigger than 1 megabyte on the original Bitcoin network. Tone Vase.
Sorry guys, was preoccupied around here. But yeah, look, I'm more relieved than excited that, you know, we finally got Segwit. I mean, many people thought this wasn't going to be possible, and I'm just happy that we got it. It wasn't easy to get Segwit onto the system, even though, you know, like 9 months ago, 12 months ago, we thought it was going to be very simple, but turned out that it wasn't. And it still isn't all that simple. And as much as I want to be happy about it, I'm already preparing for the next fight, the next battle, to keep Bitcoin decentralized, to keep Bitcoin, you know, from turned into I don't know what exactly. I'm already, you know, thinking about what does the 2x hard fork mean? Who are going to be the people involved? How do we deal with it? How do we stop them? And this is what I'm already thinking about. So as much as I want to celebrate, I can't right now, because it's not over yet. We now have monster congestion on the mempool again. We've had one Segwit block, just one, by Bitfury, the miners seem to be ignoring these Segwit transactions, right? Like, I'm not sure how it works. Maybe Jimmy can get back in here and explain. Like, I know there aren't many people using segregated witness transactions yet. I would like to start. I would like to start using Segwit transactions. My wallet providers need to give me those addresses, and we'll see. But now I'm a little scared. I mean, what if Bitfury is the only miner that's actually mining them?
Yeah. So I did listen in on the core dev meeting yesterday on IRC, and apparently there's a parameter that they need to set, and it's called max block size, and they need to set it to 4 megabytes because that's the absolute maximum that you can do with Segwit, although most blocks aren't that big. So it turns out that they believe that most miners are setting that to 1 megabyte because they're scared that it's not going to be valid on the network. Obviously, Bitfury knows what's going on, so they set it to a higher number. But a lot of these other miners are like, well, you know, we don't want to lose like 12.5 Bitcoins if we're wrong. So they're a little bit scared to do it. Like I said, like a lot of miners tend to be on the conservative side. They go with what works, and this, I believe, contributed to the fact that they were supporting bigger blocks because it was something that they knew, whereas Segwit is something that they're less familiar with. But yeah, I mean, it's just a parameter. I think Alex Morkos had a tweet that said, please set this parameter to 4 megabytes. They just haven't done it, and that's probably why you're not seeing bigger blocks than a megabyte, except from Bitfury.
It's also worth noting that segregated witness is a bug fix, providing an end to transaction malleability. So no longer will we see any more Mt. Gox, but we already don't see any more Mt. Gox. So let's move on to the exit question. Is there anything else you guys are excited about in Bitcoin other than segregated witness? Anything else down the pipe? Jimmy, is there a new fight that we're going to be having soon?
Oh, of course there's a fight. I mean, we're going to have the fight over 2x. But the thing that I'm more excited about are drive chains. And you know, like Paul Sork has been working on that for years. And I believe that's going to be a game changer in more ways than even Segwit and Lightning. Because you know, you can experiment, and you don't need to have these like crazy hard fork scenarios. Although I am coming around to the idea that they might actually be good for Bitcoin and removing uncertainty. So yeah, I mean, I think side chains and drive chains are the biggest one for me.
All right, Tone, same question.
Drive chains aren't as exciting for me, maybe because I'm not technical enough. But I'm looking forward to like Mimblewimble and more fungibility solutions, just to kind of, you know, Litecoin had its day when they had Segwit and they were scaling, and Bitcoin wasn't. I think the Anon coins are going to still have their day, claiming that they're better than Bitcoin for anonymity reasons, and we need to squash those anonymity reasons. So I am looking forward to more fungibility solutions. Because look, Lightning is already, I mean, that's an automatic, right? I mean, we can all look forward to it, but we know it's coming. But something like, you know, confidential transactions and Mimblewimble to give us fungibility is what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, so you need side chains for Mimblewimble, by the way.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Does it have to be like Paul Stort's side chains, or something less complicated? Or something.
Yeah, it depends on the implementation, but yeah, you need a sidechain in order to run Mimblewimble. I guess you could do it in like a liquid style federated sidechain instead of a drive chain, but I think drive chain would be more automatic, and you know, it would be a little easier to trust, I guess, because yeah, like there are many issues with side chains, but that's the main one that people talk about, is that you need to trust some miners, and the way that drive chains does it, at least, seems to me less trust than maybe a federated one.
You know, I will say what I'm looking forward to the most is some of these people that have chosen to go to this hard fork to freaking stay there, and if it fails, not to come back to Bitcoin. But this is where a lot of these people are very, very careful in, you know, supporting the like the Bcash crap privately, but not publicly, because if they support it openly publicly, and when it fails, they will just be able to come back on Bitcoin and try again. So what I'm hoping is to put people on the spot, tell them which coin they're behind, 100%, no wishy-washy. Well, this one is good for this one is good for that. Freaking pick one. Go there and stay there.
Moving on to issue 2. Issue 2, BTC-e. BTC-e continues to claim that they're coming back, despite their founder being arrested in Greece. And now they've claimed that they've transferred their funds to an investment group. Is BTC-e ever going to come back, or should these people who have lost money just give up hope? Tone Vase.
Is that for me? Oh, I lost your volume there, Thomas. Is it me or is it every?
It's you, Tone.
You, Tone.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you guys now. I honestly don't know. I mean, why would they keep saying they're coming back if they're not coming back? So I will take them at their word. I mean, BTC has been pretty good and fairly trusted for a long time. I mean, they've been around since before I got into Bitcoin. And yeah, they got popped. I don't think it was their founder. Maybe their money that got popped. Maybe the guy behind the money with the money, not their like C-level management, assuming they ever actually incorporated. And I think if I had to say, I'd say there probably will come back. Maybe not with all the money. I'm sure a portion of it did get confiscated.
All right, Jimmy Song.
Yeah, this is a strange story for me because I really would have thought that they would have just gone away, and nobody would blame them for it. I mean, somebody on their team got arrested, but yeah, it's kind of a strange story that this news and rumor keeps popping back up. And I'm with Tone here. I think there's maybe some substance to it. I don't know if they necessarily come back in the form that they were, but maybe some limited version where they try to make the people that had money on their exchange whole, at least to some degree. I mean, even Mt. Gox has had, some people being reimbursed a little bit. So, or at least they're in the process of getting reimbursed. It's a many-year thing. So I don't know what to really make of it, but it does seem like they're at least doing something. And that's yeah, we'll see. I mean, in this space, you can never really trust rumors. You can only really trust what people actually do. And until they have the website up, I still kind of remain skeptical.
Exit question. If BTC-e comes back, will they ask their customers to provide KYC AML information before they let them withdraw? Tone Vase.
I don't think so. That would make no sense at all. I'm sure their admins still have the login and password files. So all they got to do is launch the website on a new server. People should still be able to use their old credentials to log in. And whatever method they had before to withdraw their funds, they should be withdrawing their funds. In fact, if BTC-e did ask for credentials to withdraw your funds at this point, I would not withdraw those funds, because the more likely scenario is you're about to give your credentials to a cop. So no, I would not expect that at all.
Jimmy Song.
I'm gonna say no, because these guys, if they were working under the auspices of the law, would probably just have fled. So I'm guessing this isn't really something that the Western Hemisphere is in control of. They're probably somewhere in Eastern Europe trying to launch it again, and maybe provide, maybe they feel bad or don't want to get assassinated by an angry customer. They just want to at least give people back their money back. I am going to guess that whatever the case, the customers are going to be asked to take a haircut.
The answer is yes. BTC-e will add KYC controls and will attempt to hold on to their customers' money. Once you have their money, why give it back? Which relates to our next story. Issue 3, China's biggest Bitcoin exchanges are facing scrutiny over how idle client funds are put to use. Did you ever wonder why OKCoin and Huobi didn't charge any fees for their services? It turns out that they were investing your money while you gambled at their exchange. This is shocking from a Western perspective, but appears to be no big deal from the Asian side. Let's go to Jimmy Song. What do you think about Chinese exchanges investing client funds?
This is what happens when you have fractional reserve banking. Whenever you trust someone with your money, they kind of can do whatever they want. I mean, sometimes the law tries to protect you, but nothing you can do because you don't control your own private keys. Really, the reason that you should be using exchanges is to get money in, or convert fiat to Bitcoin or Bitcoin to fiat. You should not be keeping it on. The lesson to you: if you do that, they're gonna pull stuff like that. They go, I don't know how their bets turned out. I haven't really read too much on that. But if they, if they lose a lot of money, that's your money that they're losing. So, you kind of have to deal with the consequences of that. Maybe you're asked to take a haircut and they call it a hack. I don't know. But it wouldn't surprise me if this has happened a lot before. I mean, even at Bitfinex, right? If you leave your money there, you can lend it out at an interest. Same at Polonia. That's kind of a common thing. These places that, well, they're not doing it out of the goodness of their heart. They are using your money deposits to make more money, and that should not shock you. That's kind of how businesses function. They try to leverage everything they have to make a profit. So not that shocking. I don't know if it's like a big scandal or anything, but to me, that's the behavior you should expect when you're trusting someone with your money.
However, at those other exchanges, when you participate in margin lending, you know about it and you receive interest or extra funds for putting your money out there. I'm reminded of the scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when they park their car at the garage and they're sure it'll be safe, only to see the parking garage attendants go on their own day off. Let's go to Tone Vase for a check of what he thinks about Chinese exchanges investing customer funds. Obviously, there's a major risk when you're gambling with customer money. What if you lose it all? I suppose the other way, what if you make too much? I don't know. It seems wildly irresponsible to me for any business to be reinvesting their customer funds. But again, remember, these exchanges are not cryptographically proven. There's no way to see what's going on from the outside. It's a black box. We have no idea. Tone Vase, inside of the black box, they're investing customer funds. What do you think? I can't stall forever here.
Oh, no, sorry guys. Yeah. So thanks for the minor stall. Okay, so do we know exactly what they were doing with the money?
It sounds like mutual funds, pretty safe investments. I don't think they lost any, but they were definitely investing money in, I think it was Chinese index funds.
Oh, really? So they were taking the Bitcoin, they were selling the Bitcoin, and they were investing the money in fiat instruments.
I'm not sure if it was the Bitcoin funds. It might have been if you were holding fiat dollars or some kind of other instrument, they would invest that. Not sure about the Bitcoin, but the details are sketchy.
That's actually funny. That's really funny to me, right? Because again, all the people in the space, the libertarians, like, oh, we don't need no regulation. Okay, fine. You don't need no regulation. Okay, then these companies just get to use your money and not even pay you interest for using it. It's interesting that you brought up the interest. I was going to do it, but you did it ahead of me, Thomas. I'm not surprised by this. Anytime someone else is holding your private key, you have to assume the worst. And unfortunately, some of us learned this the hard way when people even like me lost half their Bitcoin when you let someone else do stuff with your Bitcoin. Okay, so this is what happens. I don't understand why people are upset. This is the risk that you, by letting.
Well, that was a long stall, but To add a little more to this, there's a little bit of oh, no, he's come back a little, but he's still broken. There's a little bit of a Pete Rose element to this, where Tone was saying there is no regulation, and we're kind of fortunate that they were betting on other things. Imagine if they had been betting against coins. They could have gone on their own exchange, sold your coins, freaked you out, made you sell your coins. It could have been a whole train wreck if they were playing with house money on house games.
Right, but how do you know they weren't doing that still? Like, how do you know they weren't doing that on micro level? It's like, I've been saying this for years. People are like, oh my God, there's this one whale on OKCoin that has like 40% of all the volume in like, one set of contracts. And I kept telling people it's on both sides of the goddamn thing. It's probably the exchange itself. They're just using your money.
And that's to say nothing of front-running trades and timing and all the kind of intelligence that you would have on trading if you owned an exchange. It's an enviable position to be in.
There's a reason, if you ever, like, so many Bitcoin traders have never traded the real traditional markets. There is infinite amount of paperwork that you got to sign. I understand the regulation is out of control, but it's all there to prevent this kind of shit. Now, we can debate whether that regulation is good. We can debate whether that regulation works. But that regulation showed up because of the exact same thing you are witnessing in the crypto space.
Exactly. The scams of the 20s and 30s led to regulation, and in some ways led to a safer and more secure market. Let's move on to issue 4. Issue 4, an inside look at Bitkan's Bitcoin Shaped the Future documentary. And some of you might not have heard of this from Bitcoin.com, but it's a new documentary that seems to be the Chinese perspective on Bitcoin. It interviews with Jihan Wu, the CEO of Via BTC, as well, the founder of Huobi, Simon Dixon, Roger Ver, and Leon Liu from Bitkan. And so it's a interest in how China became such an important part of Bitcoin. The question is, which side will it take? Will it be a Bcash leaning documentary or a Bitcoin documentary? Jimmy Song.
Well, I think actually it's going to be more like, advocating for bigger blocks or something like that. Or I think this is part of a campaign to sort of soften the image of Jihan Wu and other people. I think there were a couple Quartz articles where they kind of admitted that we need to remake our image, right? Like because the infamous tweet about doing something with your mother that Jihan gave out, and that's he admitted, hey, I really regret that tweet. So I think this is part of sort of like a PR campaign, and that's good. You want to sort of put your best foot forward to the community when you can. It's especially since if you're providing something like 60 or 70% of the world's mining hash power. This particular documentary, just given who's in it, it does seem like it's going to argue more for bigger blocks. But that's their right, and I'm guessing that Bitmain funded some of it at least, and maybe Roger Ver did as well. I'm probably going to see if I can watch it and see what they say, just so I get a perspective that I hadn't had before, and yeah, that'll be interesting for me.
All right, Tone Vase, bigger blocks for bigger docs.
No, they're not going to do that. I can guarantee you that big blocks will not be mentioned. I haven't seen the documentary, but I can promise you big blocks will not be mentioned. Bcash will not be mentioned. It's going to be completely from the perspective of Bitcoin. Now, they might talk about it, Bitcoin will be 100,000 in the future. It's like the recent interview with Jihan Wu on Bloomberg. He talked about how great Bitcoin is and how they have the biggest Bitcoin mining operation, and how Jihan says the Bitcoin can go to $100,000, and that's all great, but they're gonna, they know what they're saying in front of the camera. This is like Roger on that debate correcting Richard, saying, whoa, where did you hear that I'm the supporter of Bcash? while everything that he does, subliminally says that, but he'll never say it publicly, because same thing with Jihan or any of the Chinese people that are, I mean, you can have your entire mining farm mining Bcash, but if you're doing a documentary, you're going to talk about how great Bitcoin is and how you're mining Bitcoin, because if you win, that becomes Bitcoin. But if you talk about Bcash on a documentary and there is no Bcash in a year, you do not look like a fool, and you still look smart, because Bitcoin is doing what you said it was going to do, even if you wanted it on Bcash and centralize the whole thing. I mean, this is your, this is the hedge, right? The hedge is, I want to control Bitcoin. Again, the list of names that Richard named during his debate with Roger. You have, Roger, Jihan, Fake Satoshi, Gavin Andreessen. So that pool, so that foursome with, a few minions. So I believe that they want to control Bitcoin. They can't control the real Bitcoin. They can control Bcash. Wins, that becomes Bitcoin, because that's the closest thing we would actually have to Bitcoin. It's not going to win, but maybe they think that it might. But if it doesn't, the hedge is, we're not going to talk about Bcash publicly. We're going to still talk about it publicly in terms of Bitcoin, because if that side loses, we can still win, because we have so much Bitcoin, we will be rich. And if we can't control it, at least we'll be rich. So nobody in these documentaries will talk about it with big blocks. They're not going to talk about the hard forks. They're going to pretend they don't exist. That's just my view on it.
I do predict that the documentary will show a heroic side to the Chinese miners and a heroic side to Chinese participation in Bitcoin, which until recently I would completely agree with. Before the forks, before the attempted splits, there was a heroic aspect to Chinese Bitcoin mining, as well as the fact that they were handsomely paid for their contributions. Now I'm not so sure, with people attempting to take over Bitcoin and fighting over the name Bitcoin instead of just creating their own project. That hardly seems heroic. But let's move on to story of the week. Jimmy Song, are you ready with the story of the week?
Yeah, I have two. I think I want. Can we do the debut of the new video? All right. So Thomas, are you going to share it, or should I? I don't know if my audio. Oh yeah, there you go.
He's got it.
All right.
All right, here we are, the brand new explainer video from Jimmy Song and the World Crypto Network. Here we go.
Replay attacks explained.
Oh, this video is unavailable. Thank you, YouTube. Oh, well, removed by the user. Oh, well, we're going to check into that later, figure out what went wrong there.
Well, wait, aren't we the users?
We are the user.
No. So I uploaded a newer version with the correct QR code at the end. I think you might have missed that or something. So if you go back to the World Crypto Network, it might work. Here, in fact, I'm gonna just make it public right now so we can go and watch it. All right, publish. It should be there right now. All right, do you see it? It should be there. There, videos. I just published it. Paste the link. Did you find it? There we go. All right, let's do it.
All right, we got audio, we got a video, this time for sure.
Attacks explained. In order to understand what a replay attack is, we first must understand how Bitcoin works. Bitcoin is a global ledger. Anyone can verify transactions by downloading a copy of the ledger. Hard forks. A hard fork creates a copy of the ledger. All existing transactions are intact, but the rules are changed by making it incompatible with the previous version, creating a new ledger. Replay attacks. If you hold Bitcoin before the split, you will own an equal amount on the new ledger. But what if you wanted to send Bitcoin from one chain and not the other? This could be a problem because if you send coins on one chain, the person you sent it to could send the same transaction on the other ledger. This is called a replay attack because they are replaying your transaction. Replay protection. The creators of the Bitcoin Cash hard fork included replay protection to protect their users against these attacks. The developers behind the Segwit 2x hard fork, scheduled in 3 months, are refusing to add replay protection. They claim Bitcoin Core should add replay protection if it's a concern. Unfortunately, the only way to add replay protection to a ledger is with another hard fork. Thus, Bitcoin Core would have to hard fork at the same time as the Segwit 2x hard fork. This would create 4 Bitcoin chains: Bitcoin Core Replay, Bitcoin Segwit 2x, and Bitcoin Cash. Most Bitcoin Core developers are not opposed to creating a hard fork, but they believe that 3 months is not enough time to prepare, so this scenario is unlikely. What happens next? As a user, your main option will be to mix your coins with a transaction that exists on one chain but does not exist on the other. Mixing your coins with unreplayable transactions will make your transactions unreplayable. It is likely that exchanges and merchants may offer these mixing services to ease the transition. Conclusion. If, like most Bitcoin users, you're more of a holder and less of a spender, replay attacks will not likely be much of a problem. You'll want to mix your coins once and keep them in cold storage, allowing you to spend in the future without worries. However, if you are unaware of this information, anytime you spend on one chain, you will likely be risking holdings on the other chain. Knowledge is power. Be informed. Please like and share this video to help spread the word. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the World Crypto Network and consider donating if you like this video. If we raise more than 0.15 Bitcoins, we will be able to make another video like this soon. Thank you very much.
All right, Jimmy, thanks for that video. Any more to say on that?
I do have another story of the week. I will be speaking at the Breaking Bitcoin conference in Paris in a couple of weekends. So I won't be around for the Bitcoin group, but so is Thomas. Thomas is going to be in Paris. He's gonna, I think, travel there and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm speaking particularly on the socialized costs of a hard fork and how that reduces security for both chains. So if you do want to make it out to Paris and support not just the World Crypto Network and me and Thomas, but also like a lot of core developers. Eric Lombroso is going to be there. Jameson Lopp is going to be there. Elizabeth Stark is going to be there. She's a Lightning Network developer. Roast Beef. I can't pronounce his actual name, so I just call him Roast Beef. But he speaks like 2,000 miles per hour. That's the same guy that we had on the other day. They're going to be there. Developers for Electrum, Ledger. It's going to be a great conference. If you are in Europe, I totally encourage you to be there. So yeah, that's sort of my story of the week.
It's going to be very exciting. My first time in Europe, and I hope to go to more places than just Paris. Let's go to Tone Vase for a story of the week. Go ahead, Tone.
Well, just to follow up on that, I'm not going to make it to that event in Paris, but a couple of days later, I will be in Geneva and then Zurich. And then from there, I'll be traveling through many cities of Europe, speaking at all kinds of meetups, from Germany to Italy, maybe London, ending in Prague. But we'll mention those. We'll mention all of those events more, especially since Thomas is going to be in Europe, and we'll probably coordinate a little bit.
And I know you're saying at home, you're like, Thomas, how can you go to Europe? You have an expensive apartment in San Francisco. That's ridiculous. Well, like Jimmy, I also have a video today. Today's the day of pre-recorded videos. So here we are, one more, kind of quick, but this is a quick show anyway. So here's another pre-recorded video.
Good morning, Bitcoins. Today is Saturday, August 26, 2017.
And this is Mad Bitcoin. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Stop everything. I've got to tell you guys the truth. This is my last day in San Francisco. It's been a great run over 2.5 years. I've worked for 2 Bitcoin startup companies, but it's a very expensive city, and it's time to go. Not all, because I'm not going far. I'm moving back to Sacramento, and then Mad Bitcoins will travel the world, or at least to Europe, and I'll see some castles and stuff. Maybe Asia, see Hong Kong, Japan, China. Check out the wall. You all know I'm big fans of walls. But I wanted to do something different today. I wanted to show you Mad Bitcoins, San Francisco. This is my apartment. I have a desk, a dresser with clothes, a bed that has a chair on it right now, a bright light that you can't see, and a mirror. I've got this Satoshi Nakamoto cover of Newsweek, and my good old Lebowski Time magazine. Are you a Lebowski achiever? I know I am. And now, the apartment tour. The moment you've all been waiting for. The hallway. Every apartment has a hallway. This apartment only has a hallway. Down the hallway we go. Bathroom on the right, not too interesting. Hallway continuing. We've reached the end of the hallway. Cool Caddyshack art. And now, the kitchen. And then, the hallway. Now let's take this show on the road. You'll notice I had them engrave my initials in the staircase. That cost extra. Here it comes. Get ready. No bridge today. Nothing but fog. But there it is. San Francisco. Goodbye, city. I guess this is about it for Mad Bitcoins in San Francisco. I do think there's just one thing that I need. A new hat. Nope, not that hat. This one looks just right. So join Mad Bitcoins on tour. Europe, Asia, America, the world. Do you want Mad Bitcoins in your town? Donate below and let me know. Which couch should I stay on next? Thanks for watching. Until next time, this has been Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins. Mad Bitcoins.
How did that not end with bye-bye?
Oh, I say something different on Mad Bitcoins. I don't say bye. It's a different show. And then just some nice scenery from San Francisco. And there it is. Mad Bitcoins leaving San Francisco, traveling the world, Europe, and perhaps beyond. So it should be very exciting. You can follow me on Twitter at Mad Bitcoins if you'd like to see more. I'm going to be broadcasting the trip and trying to take a lot of pictures and videos. It's going to be a great time. We've also got Tone Vase for a story of the week or prediction. Go ahead, Tone.
Oh man, I'll come back with screen share. Yes, so you have the Golden Gate Bridge. I guess I'll give you guys a look of my view out my balcony, and that's our version of the Golden Gate Bridge, the Verrazano Bridge. I don't know if you guys can see that on the big screen here.
You could see it
out there in the distance, indeed.
Yeah, let me put it on the big screen without dropping my brand new laptop down 7 flights of stairs here. Yeah, there it is over there in the distance. So that's kind of my look. Let me get back to where I was. And hey, the Bit World Tour, this guy is going to be off on his next adventure in a little bit once he sobers up. And let me just glance at the Bitcoin price and see what's going on. That is the Bitcoin rat, guys. I got the rat. I'll be, oh, whoa, that's my neighbor's balcony right there. Oh, man, Thomas, you're not supposed to show that. There's only supposed to be one of them.
He's just that fast. How did he get there so fast?
I know. Moving around. All right, let me just do a quick screen share. Let's glance at the price. Let's see what the hell's going on. I have no idea what the hell happened. Was there news? I wasn't paying attention. We broke out of this range on the hourly chart. I fully expected it to go up to new highs, back into the range, and we'll be back up there. I mean, I'm not too worried. Here's the daily chart. The daily chart still looks very good. I have been saying both on my Twitter and on these shows that we need to close the candle above 4,400. And then we need to open again above 4,400, which we will, because Bitcoin is a 24-hour market. And then come up and start trading above the all-time high, which we just missed by a couple of bucks. So this whole breakout might be delayed by a day or two, but I'm still expecting it to happen. And while I'm expecting a complete and utter volatility disaster coming in September, late September, I'm still bullish for the next 3 weeks. And let's see if we can crack that 5,000 barrier. And then we take it from there.
All right, Tone, thanks for that update. And thanks to everybody for watching and giving us a thumbs up and a share. If it's your first time here, please subscribe down below. If you live in Europe, maybe you live in Paris or along the way, and you'd like Mad Bitcoins to visit you, let me know on Twitter. I'm always looking for new couches to stay on, Bitcoin meetups to visit. Just want to see the Bitcoin community in Europe. It's my first time there. I'm very excited to travel. I've read a lot about castles and battlefields and World War II and what have you, and I'm excited to see where it all took place. I'm sure I'll learn a lot and see a lot of fun stuff. A little stressed about it now, but we'll see how it goes. Thanks so much for everybody for watching. I want to put up this donation address in case you want to send us a couple bucks. And until next time, bye-bye.